sports talk show that focuses on high school and WKU, as well as regional athletes who play at the next level. Sportsline was originated by Hall of Fame sportscaster Wes Strader. Now with a new version of Sportsline, here's Garret Browning on ESPN Radio 102.7.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome back to ESPN Radio 102.7 FM, ESPN Radio 102.7.com, the Sportsline, Mondays 5 to 6, usually. Today we're going to be hopping out a little bit early. The Cincinnati Reds will take us over, but it was too big of a show to pass up. We've got a big-time guest in studio. We'll get right to it. Warren East Lady Raiders softball head man Phillip McKinney joining us in studio after a big weekend at the state tournament. We've got the runner-up trophy here in studio with us. Coach, I know it's a little disappointing to finish second place 2 years in a row, but, man, you guys had just an incredible season, 35-3. Is that right?
36-3.
See, I was trying to shortchange you.
Don't shortchange us. When I first took over at Warren East, you're trying to get out of district and win region, maybe win a couple of regions and get to state and see what happens. And I never thought that after losing in a state championship game that me and the players would be disappointed. I mean, how can you be disappointed? You made it. There's almost 300 schools that play softball in Kentucky in high school. And but after last year runner-up and having, pretty much everybody back, there was some disappointment, but after that, after you get past that, you sit back and look at what a great accomplishment these girls have had in not only just the last 2 years, but since they were in 8th grade.
Well, and that tells you a lot about just what kind of team you guys have, that a loss in the championship game is disappointing because for those that don't know, softball around this area, it's very good in Kentucky, and the team that you guys fell to was undefeated on the season. That was male. They finished 36-0, and actually they're ranked number 3 in the country according to USA Today. So I mean, absolutely nothing to hang your head about.
No, not at all. They've Coach Blimmer's got a really good team, and they'll definitely be the favorite to win state next year.
And for the Lady Raiders, you will lose a couple of key seniors. Of course, the big one is Miss Softball Katie Gardner through her last couple of games this weekend, and she did not let down, to say the least, the last couple.
No, this was the first time ever that the Kentucky Softball Coaches Association that I'm a member of, they're the ones that give out the All-State awards. They have the top 25. They also give out the Miss Softball. That has nothing to do with Kentucky High School Association. This association is different, and they always announce those awards the Sunday or the Monday after the state tournament. Mm-hmm. And then the next weekend is always East-West Junior All-Stars, Junior and Senior All-Stars. So because this got pushed back a weekend, East-West All-Stars was this weekend. Well, they had to announce last Monday who all made first team, second team All-State, honorable mention, Miss Softball, coaching staff of the year. This was the first time that these kids, not only our kids, but other kids, went into the state tournament knowing that they were first team All-State or they were Miss Softball or second team All-State. Little extra, added pressure. But man, Katie walked in as Miss Softball, and everybody's looking at, hey, that's the kid that won Miss Softball, and I think she showed exactly why she received that award.
And I excuse my ignorance, I probably shouldn't spout off records without knowing them off the top of my head, but I'm going to venture to guess that she's probably holding on to almost every career pitching record for the Lady Raiders. I mean, is there one that she came up short on?
I'd have to sit down and really thumb through it. She actually set the career wins in pitching during her sophomore season. Oh, wow. She set the career strikeout during her sophomore year. So she's just kind of added on. But, there's a few, regular season, most wins. I think it was either Ramona Capshaw or Kate Holmes had the record at like 23 or 24 wins. And Katie ends up with 30. I don't even know what she ended up with. 33, 31.
31 somewhere.
31, yeah.
At least 30.
Yeah, 30-something. Maybe career ERA, she might not have got that record. She might have got second on that. But no,
only because she threw too many innings.
Probably because we played so many games.
Of course, we're talking to Coach McKinney of the Warren East Lady Raiders. Wrapped up the state tournament this past weekend, finishing up state runner-up. to the male Lady Bulldogs. We'll be back after this break talking with Coach about what he thought of the new tournament layout, single elimination compared to double elimination, and we'll play a couple of highlights for you as well of the Warren East Lady Raiders season. Come back with us here on Sportsline, ESPN Radio.
This is a Morgan & Morgan consumer message.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. An accident takes seconds to occur. Then what should take a great deal of time and research sometimes only takes a day. What lawyer should I hire? Sometimes the firm you hire does many things: bankruptcy, immigration, criminal defense, right there on their website. Would you hire a pediatrician to do your heart surgery? Of course not. This will be a life-changing decision, and all lawyers are not the same. Our firm is an open book. You know us by over 30 years of reputation. If you want to know what a case like yours may be worth, visit forthepeople.com and look at the offers made and verdicts returned by juries for cases like yours. Hundreds of them. The proof is in the pudding. Your lawyer may have never been to court, or rarely. And listen, just because you hired the wrong firm in a rush days after your accident doesn't mean you can't fire them before it's too late. Look before you leap. There is only one Morgan. On your cell phone, dial pound law, pound 529. Pound law, that's all. Offices, Bowling Green.
If you feel hot drafts or hot spots in your house, it could be that your walls are leaking. Even the tiniest holes, like where the electric or telephone lines come into your house, are big enough to let hot air in and cool air out. So are gaps around windows in the space between your front door and the door. Cover them up. Use caulk to seal cracks and plug holes. It's an easy job with big benefits.
Connecting Bowling Green, BGMU.
Connecting Bowling Green.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can't wait to catch a bunch of these here fish this afternoon. And I'm pretty sure I won't be getting a call from the lady talking about the air conditioner because I done got it took care of.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, turn to the experts like I always do this time of year.
Right. Who's that?
Well, that'd be Bowling Green Refrigeration, Heating, and Cooling. Yeah. Your comfort is their concern is what they say. Oh, here comes one, boys.
Hold on, let me grab the net.
Earl, is that your phone ringing?
Yeah, it is. Here, take his net. What?
Earl, I need you to get home right now. I am burning up. This air conditioner's out. Get off that boat right now.
All right. Hey, sorry about that, man. The lady is hot. The air conditioner isn't working.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, what's your unit? Is it a carrier?
No, it's not a carrier. It's one of them others.
Doesn't matter if it's a carrier or not. Bowling Green Refrigeration, Heating, and Cooling can service it for you. No, looks like I got me another on the line here now. Between holding this net for my fish and the people calling you about the air conditioner, you ain't even got the case.
Pickled okra.
Schedule a pre-summer checkup on your HVAC unit today with Bowling Green Refrigeration, Heating, and Cooling.
Sportsline, Mondays 5 to 6 here on 102.7 FM, ESPN Radio, 1027.com. Local Sports Center update. The Toronto Raptors are your NBA Finals champions. The parade was today. Saw Kawhi Leonard. Made sure to give the laugh back to all the people in Canada. As for local sports, we don't have a ton going on. We just wrapped up the state softball tournament. Hopefully you listened this past weekend on 102.7 FM. Coach McKinney of the Warren East Lady Raiders is joining us in studio. Coach, first off, it was incredible to follow you all this season, and it was awesome to end at Joe Krupp Stadium. What facilities! I was blown away.
Right, that's an SEC school.
Oh.
You know, whether you like Kentucky or you don't like Kentucky, you have to respect and admire the facilities. And it's and you know, when we was on the bus driving over there Friday for our first game, just driving by Commonwealth Stadium, driving by the baseball stadium, soccer field, I could hear the girls whispering to each other. You know, this is what a state softball tournament is supposed to look like, sound like, and feel like. And no disrespect, but not going to a city park, you know, where they don't even drag the fields. We're up there at Kentucky playing all three games, and the fourth inning, they're dragging the field like it's at their hot rods or a Major League Baseball game.
Yep.
You know, unbelievable how they took care of the girls at the state tournament.
And there were people up in the press box that kind of said the same thing. I know our buddy who works so hard, Tyler Mansfield, following everybody around, he was up at Owensboro last year, and he kind of said the same thing, that, I mean, it's just night and day, the difference. And no disrespect to Owensboro, but it's not a college facility.
Right, exactly. And they for that part, they got right. For the rest of it, I'd like to see it tweaked a little bit more, and maybe they will. I feel like, and some other coaches feel like that you win your region, you should go to state.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of the semi-state. We were very fortunate that we got to turn around and play at Western.
Yeah.
But I know, let's see, 9, 10, 11, 12, their region played at Northern Christian University. And then 13, 14, 15, 16 played at Berea.
And you guys play at Murray State next year, is that right?
The fourth region will go to Murray State, yeah. But the pictures that I saw, and like I said, not trying to, hurt anybody's feelings, but 2 of the semi-state games, they should have played them at our field. Our field was nicer. Greenwood's field's nicer. South's field, Bowling Green's field. And we played Davis County, and it was a big game, but it was kind of weird. You knew if you won, you moved on. If you lost, it was over. But we celebrated more after winning the regional finals than we did in the sub-state.
Yeah.
It's just a really weird feeling.
It just feels like your first round game in the state tournament, not really it's almost like a wild card game to get into the MLB playoffs.
A play-in game or something. Yeah, exactly right. And there's no other schools around watching. It's just us and Davis and, really good ball players on both teams, good programs. And it was just different. I would like to see, if they'd add another day and let all 16 regional winners go up to Lexington.
But you did like the single elimination versus the double elimination, or?
I didn't mind it. I know there's some people on Twitter, they don't like the single elimination. They think it should be double. If you're going to put it at UK or U of L, I think those 2 stadiums in the state of Kentucky can hold the most people for softball. If you're going to play the state tournament there, then I'm fine with it being single.
Yeah.
If we were still at a city park and they moved it to single, I'd be pretty upset.
Yeah. Just the way the facilities would work, the single elimination works better for that single park.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and you just overlook, it's single elimination. You can overlook it when you're using their indoor facility and hitting and the chair back seating and the nice press box and dugouts.
Yeah, that indoor hitting facility. I tried to tell some of the listeners over the weekend. I mean, their clubhouse area, it's probably at least double the WKU baseball clubhouse, right?
I agree.
Maybe even triple. Yeah, they got a lounge in there and everything.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Oh my gosh,
really nice.
Well, I couldn't really make it over to the clubhouse area up in the press box, but in the press box they had a TV booth. Of course, SEC Network does a lot of their games, and on the outfield wall they just had the new 2019 Super Regional paint job done. So I guess they got that done pretty quickly.
Yep. And what about that scoreboard?
Oh, yeah. I made sure to mention that the WKU softball team took down UK earlier that year as well while I was up in the booth. I'm sure Kendall Smith probably did some damage in that game for the Lady Tops.
I'm sure she did. I didn't look at the stats, but I'm sure she did.
Kendall, former Lady Raider, catching for the Hilltoppers the last 2 years. She's going to be a junior.
Getting ready to be a junior.
And
had a heck of a year this year.
I think she was like all freshman team her first year too.
She made the all freshman conference tournament team, maybe.
Yeah, that might have been it.
And then this year, man, sorry Kendall, I can't remember exactly. But she got some awards also for this year.
Coach has been busy with the other team.
I've been just a little busy.
Warren East Lady Raiders head man Phillip McKinney joining us in studio. Of course, our buddy Charles Lewis made sure to tell me that Katie won 32 games this year.
32 games.
Yes. No one kept me straighter on the broadcast this season than our guy Charles Lewis. He made sure to throw it out there.
Charles tries to keep me straight sometimes. I'll see him before a game or right after a game. But, yeah, he tries to keep me straight. And I'll be honest, he keeps all the Warren East sports in line.
Oh, yeah. You can't.
He knows what he's talking about.
You can't get anything by Charles Lewis, that's for sure. We got to thank our sponsors for bringing Warren East softball throughout the season. Just naming off a couple here: Kite Home Center, Southern States Bowling Green Co-op, J. Allen Builders, Kimway Concrete, Rafferty's of Bowling Green, Northern Kentucky University, Coca-Cola, First Step Prosthetics, Orthotics, Oak Tree Awards and Recognition, and U.S. Army. All of our sponsors that help bring Warren East softball throughout the season. And, Coach, I really mean it. And I told this to Jess Leifheit, who is the SID for WKU softball. The very first softball games I ever worked were 2 years ago, and it was WKU softball. And I worked a doubleheader that day. And as soon as I was done, I said, this is 10 times more exciting than baseball. And she thought I was messing with her. I was like, I'm dead serious. I love watching softball. And you guys were some of the most entertaining softball I've seen easily in the last 2 years. Of course, I haven't seen a ton, but I feel spoiled knowing that this was my first full season of softball, and it was a state runner-up team.
Well, it's I played high school baseball at Central, and I was fortunate enough to sit on the bench and watch some college baseball at Martin Methodist. Watch some other guys play that were good. But I love baseball. But and I tell people all the time, but I have fallen in love with softball. The pace of the game and girls can play not only softball, basketball, or whatever, soccer, and they can play at a high level. But come watch a softball game, and man, I promise you'll walk away going, I didn't realize that they did that. I didn't realize you could do that in fast pitch. If you've never seen a game before, and we have a lot of guys at East and at the high school and middle school, guys that play baseball. They'll come up when they're not playing. If they've got to practice and we play at home after their practice, they'll stop and watch because they know our girls can play and they're trying to do the same things that they're trying to do on the baseball field.
And Warren East, the champions of Region 4, they did actually fall in the district tournament this season in the district championship game to South Warren. But if anything, I think that kind of tells the people around the area that don't know a lot about softball that, Warren East is one of the best teams in the state, but there's some pretty good competition around this region as well.
There's some really good competition in our district and our region. At one time in Max Preps, just in our district,
Bowling Green's
Greenwood was ranked.
Helps if I turn that off, Coach.
Oh, okay. Do you know what you're doing?
Somewhat.
Because I don't.
Somewhat, I know what I'm doing.
I'm just talking.
Clearly not 100%.
But in Max Preps, us in Greenwood and South was all ranked in the, at one time, top 25 or top 30. We're all in the same district.
Yeah.
South was ranked in the top 20 all year long, and they got the 3rd seed in our district. We beat them twice. Greenwood beat them, and then they had another battle where South won, but they were the number 3 seed in our district. And it's a little, I guess you kind of got to laugh because there's certain schools in certain towns that are up north about right at 2 hours away that maybe we had to play in a championship game or something that they're in the district with them in another school. That's it. 2? Really? 2? But yet here in the 14th district, and I'm not just talking about softball, go across the board, soccer, basketball, boys and girls basketball, baseball, volleyball. It's a very tough district. And then our region, we go outside of our region quite a bit. I would take the upper half of our region and play the upper half of another region anytime. And I would bet that we would have more wins than losses.
That is one thing that it always seems true with Region 4, especially in softball, is it's a deep team roster. I mean, ACS is usually really good. Greenwood's always good. South Warren, you guys, and of course that's mostly still in the district. Barron County.
Franklin Simpson. And then here comes Logan County and Russellville the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's a great
point. And
they've
still got some young players, and you watch those 2 teams, could make it to the regional tournament next year. And it is. The 4th region is, I hate to use the word loaded,
Yeah.
But it's very deep. And like I said, we play all over the state, and I would put our teams in the 4th region up against other teams in other regions.
I'm glad you brought up Russellville too, because that was one of the weirder games I had to broadcast this year up at Russellville. Amaya Collier was the starting pitcher, and she had to be pulled for a family emergency in that game, and they ended up ending the game early. But just talking about Amaya Collier, she's a freshman for Russellville, and I was pretty worried when we started that game, Coach, because I think she struck out the first 2 batters she faced. And then, sadly, she had to be pulled for the emergency. But, there are a lot of young talent around the region, including her.
Yeah, and Amaya, I might get this wrong, but I'm almost 100% sure she got 2nd team All-State Class A.
I think I remember seeing her name.
Yeah, and KJ out of Logan County, I think she got 2nd team All-State. I don't know.
I don't have it up in front of me, but
and Stumbo and and she got second team 3A, and Isabel got honorable mention, and I'm probably missing maybe a few other ones, and I apologize. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, we don't have to travel all over the place to get better competition. We can stay right here in the 4th region, but playing in our district, in our region, it does make us better, and I truly believe that. And you talked about Katie winning Miss Softball. She's the 4th person from the 4th region to win Miss Softball. And talking about our district, Katie wins it from East. Brittany York won it from Greenwood. And Coach Reynolds, who when she was in high school, her maiden name is Johnson, Kelly Johnson. I don't know if you know her or not. She won the first Miss Softball in fast pitch at Warren Central.
No, I did not know that. That's South Warren's head coach, correct?
Yeah, Coach Reynolds. That was 1995. So our district has 3 Miss Softballs winners in it,
including one of them coaching. No pressure, McKinney.
Well, it's but and you did mention Allen County and look at Barron County's record and there's some really good softball in this region.
And before I get you out of here, we're going to run a couple of quick highlights, and I want you to talk about some of the seniors you got to coach, not just the last 4 years, because I'm sure a couple of them been playing since middle school. But we got to start off with Katie Gardner. This is from the state championship game on Saturday evening.
Slider on the outside edge, got her looking for strike number 3. She K's up the side, 5 strikeouts in a row, and 12 batters sat down. 12 to the plate, 12 back to the dugout. Scoreless through 4, headed to the 5th. Warren East nothing, Mail nothing. The state safe softball championship here on ESPN Radio.
Katie Gardner, she threw 4 perfect innings to start off the state championship game, and that was after she had thrown 210 pitches in the last, 24 hours, the last 2 games that you guys played. Miss Softball, you really just can't say enough about the senior Katie Gardner, can you? No, I mean,
you'd be here for a long time. We'd have to spend the night.
We'd have to take over the Reds at 5:40.
Right, exactly. She did everything that we asked for, and she was our leader. And but there's been some little comments on Twitter. Maybe we're a one-trick pony. Yeah, we had Miss Softball, but we had a solid team, and we've had a solid team for the last couple of years. And but Katie did, she's the one in the circle, but you also got to have somebody to catch the pitcher, you know. And Harley didn't get many at bats, and that kid, she caught like she was a senior going to college somewhere, and she was just a sophomore. And then you go across the infield and the outfield. Those kids can make plays, and you got to score. It doesn't matter if Katie strikes everybody out. We still got to score.
It's going to be 0-0 going to extras.
Just to me, an all-around team and a very strong team. And just, what they've done, some of them started, of course, Katie started as an 8th grader, and Kai got to play a little bit. But what they did basically in 5 years, they won 147 games and lost 36. District runner-up in 19, district champs 15, 17, and 18. Regional runner-up in 17, regional champs 15, 18, and 19. State runner-up 18 and 19. And then you go back to when the seniors were 8th graders, the juniors and seniors, and Lucy started middle school as a 6th grader. But when the juniors and seniors were the 7th and 8th graders in middle school, they went 57 and 10, and they won district and state that year.
Wow.
So what, and I got to sit back, and I had the best seat. I just sat there and watched.
Well, and Coach Paul Sanford, who used to be on this program with Wes Strader when I first started, I'll never forget this quote. It's one of the greatest quotes I've heard from a coach. He said, great coaching, it literally does not matter without great players. That's exactly what makes great coaches. And, you mentioned it. You had a pretty good seat for some great players.
Yeah, and it was, and I appreciate, being a small part of their life, and some of them still got a few more years. Wow, what a trip that they took me and the other coaches and parents on for the last 5 years.
The last thing I wanted to mention is a lot of times in high school athletics, when you have a team like this that makes the state tournament run 2 years in a row, you call them a great team a great team, but when you put together consistent greatness over the last couple of years, all of a sudden you transform from a great team into a great program. And you guys have really started to turn that page, I feel like, into a great program. And it starts with having young girls produce. And the only way you're going to get those young girls to produce is if you have some good leadership in front of them to help lead the way. And I think you guys are starting down that road, hopefully.
Well, I appreciate that. And me and the coaching staff, we put in a lot of time, whether it's middle school or high school or even travel ball. Me and Coach Elkin, all the starters except for Lucy, Harley, and Jada, all the rest of the starters was on me and Coach Elkin's 5- and 6-year-old travel team. And when I say this, I don't mean, it was all us, but, we were, when you hit the ball, you run that way. That's first.
Yeah.
Don't run past second. You got to stop on second unless we're telling you to run to third. This is how you throw. This is how you get ready. Get your hands off your knees. You don't look like that. You got your glove out. This is how you.
That would be my problem. Hands on knees.
Yeah, and this is how you wear your uniform. You tuck in your shirt, and they were all 5 and 6, which is just, it's just unreal to see them grow up as athletes, and watch what all they've accomplished. It just, I don't know, numbing, actually.
Coach McKinney of the Warren East Lady Raiders here in studio joining us. The Lady Raiders finish as state runner-up this season, 2 years in a row, but just an incredible year for all the seniors, and not just the seniors, those coming back. 36-3, they finished the year. Coach, congratulations on a great one, and hey, hopefully I get to join you next year too. We get to go back to Lexington. I'd be okay with that.
Hey, we would love it. I had several parents tell me they really enjoyed. And not only parents, but people that, family members or whoever who couldn't make it to the games, they really enjoyed your broadcast, and you painted a really good picture. And, it's just something different. High school softball's not broadcast, but what you did and ESPN 102.7 radio, man, we couldn't ask for anything better.
Well, and I'm sorry I disappointed you during the state championship game.
With can strike out the side here. Swung and hit back, and I'm all right.
I'm sorry I let you down with that one, Coach.
What did you think, though, when I texted you from the dugout? Come on, man, make a play.
I was not sure. I didn't know if you got the full view of it or not. But
I was coaching third when it happened.
So you got the full.
You didn't even stand up. I missed one of them.
See, the problem is when I'm doing the broadcast,
don't make excuses.
I'll be looking down and marking a strike or a ball, and then before I know it, the next pitch is coming. So the first one, I had a pretty good opportunity at. It hit off the glass in front of me, and I tried to scoop it out.
Okay, that's the one I missed.
Yeah, and that was
one I saw that went
directly in the booth.
And you ducked.
Well, it was coming at me fast. I didn't know if it was dipping or not, so I just kind of put the hands up.
And you didn't put the hands up, I don't think. You just ducked. Maybe you did, but I don't think you – I think it was more like self-defense. You got to step up and make them. If you're going to broadcast us, you're going to have to get better at foul balls.
I got to get in front of one. Put the body in front of it at least. Knock it down.
It's just a bruise.
Coach McKinney of the Warren East Lady Raiders, thanks for joining me, Coach. And,
thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, as always, you guys made it a lot of fun. Warren East Lady Raiders finished the year runners-up in the 2019 softball state tournament. Come back with us. We'll be talking the NBA Finals. Open up those phone lines for you, 270-782-1945. This is the Sports Line on ESPN.
Are you looking for fun, local, affordable entertainment for the whole family? The Bowling Green Hot Rods have you covered this spring and summer with the all-new Family Pass. Get up to 6 tickets for family and friends to all Sunday through Thursday games, including 3 fireworks dates during the 2019 season. Call the Hot Rods and get your personalized membership card with the Hot Rods Family Pass today at 901-2121. Bowling Green Hot Rods Baseball. Fantastic.
New York Times best-selling author Andy Andrews is releasing his most exciting book yet.
Until now, the strategies explained in my new book have only been available to a specific few. In fact, I signed contracts with 3 different corporations that kept me from publishing the material. During the past several years, the processes and action plans in this book have been generating absolutely unheard of, measurable results. But by the terms of my agreements, I was not allowed to reveal that these processes and plans even existed. Until now. Now, I can share and explain the concepts, complete with great stories and eye-popping proof. It's all in the book, The Bottom of the Pool.
The methods in Bottom of the Pool helped Fairway Independent Mortgage go from $5 billion to over $20 billion in just 3 years. Start thinking beyond your boundaries to achieve extraordinary results. Pre-order The Bottom of the Pool by Andy Andrews today.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Garret Browning back here on the airwaves. Thanks for coming back with me, 102.7 FM and ESPN Radio 102.7.com. Coach McKinney is making his way out there. He's got more softball practice to get to. It's amazing. I got a smile for the picture with the state runner-up, though. There we go. We got the pick I needed. Thanks, Coach. Coach McKinney of the Warren East Lady Raiders. They finished as state runner-up this past weekend. Hopefully you joined the broadcast throughout the year on 102.7 FM. This is the Sportsline, Mondays 5 to 6. We're going to be off a little early today because Marty Brenneman and the Cowboy Jeff Brantley will be kicking me off the airways at 5:40 to get ready for their pregame show. Hey, the Reds have been on a little bit of a hot streak lately, taking in a couple of wins, trying to get back above that 500 number, but the NL Central, man, it's a dogfight to say the least. If you want to know more about the baseball update around Major League, make sure to tune in tomorrow to the Sports Web, where we'll have Danny Hartung, the MLB expert, for Brian Webb and me, because you know me and Brian don't have any expertise in our body. The one piece of expertise I may have, and finally, for those that have listened throughout the year, we do a segment called Deleted Tweets, where it is the hottest take you can think of, and you put it out there in the open, and you can delete it later so people don't make fun of you. Well, this one I don't have to delete. You're welcome, world. If you listen to my betting picks for entertainment purposes only, you are $400 richer. The series is 1-1 between Golden State and Toronto.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and give you this. Toronto's going to win the series. Kawhi Leonard's going to be Finals MVP. And I'm going to go place $200 on Kawhi Leonard plus 210 for Finals MVP. Now, if only I put my money where my mouth was, because I totally did not bet that much money. You should know that because you're listening to me on ESPN Radio. I don't make $200 a month, so I had to hold on to that $200. But if you listen to me and you threw down that bet, you're welcome, baby. Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors win their first NBA Finals in franchise history. The Drake curse is over. Drake Aubrey Graham has got his championship. For those that missed it, the rapper Drake is a global ambassador for the Toronto Raptors. And I think he thinks that he makes a player's salary because he gave an interview after they won the championship that looked like he just stepped out of the locker room of Game 6. But congrats to Drake nonetheless. Congrats to those Raptors. And Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is an NBA champion. It is unbelievable. And now the next step this offseason is what happens to the Warriors. Not just in free agency, but now because of the injuries that have occurred during the playoffs. it's brought a lot of questions to the front. Are they going to be healthy enough for another run next year? Do you give Clay a super max with a torn ACL this offseason? I think you do, but there's an argument to be made that he's not going to come back the same player. And of course, Kevin Durant, with his Achilles injury and all the questions about this free agency in the summer, now are there going to be a team out there that was willing to pay him a max contract that now is sitting back and saying, well, why would we pay this guy all this money if we don't know he's going to play next year or if he's going to be the same player after that? It honestly just seems like it's all of a sudden the worst case scenario for the Warriors. Going into the NBA Finals, it was best case scenario. You don't have Kevin Durant and you still look like world beaters. All of a sudden, the Raptors take the first game. You're like, all right, well, Kevin Durant's coming back. It's not that big of a deal. Boogie Cousins is going to be a little healthy, right? No. Boogie's not as healthy as we thought. Kevin Durant was obviously not as healthy as we thought. Klay Thompson was healthy and then has a freak ACL injury. I mean, it's so weird. I mean, all of a sudden, it seems like this dynasty that we've seen the Warriors could be starting to fall apart. Now, Draymond Green and company do not agree with me, but I'm interested to see what you say. It is 270-782-1945, the phone line, if you'd like to jump in and give me your 2 cents on the NBA playoffs or this NBA offseason, what you expect. And we've already got hot news from the NBA offseason. It never stops, man. 2 days after the championship, a blockbuster trade between the LA Lakers and the New Orleans Pelicans. Anthony Davis, all NBA power forward, former player of the year in college with the University of Kentucky. He is headed to the Los Angeles Lakers. For what? Well, it might be easier for me to just tell you what the Lakers didn't give up. They gave up Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks, which includes the number 4 pick this season. So right now, the New Orleans Pelicans are sitting on those 3 Lakers, all 3 widely considered very good young prospects. Lonzo Ball has been a little underwhelming. Brandon Ingram finally is starting to take a couple of steps towards the prime time. And Josh Hart was a second-round pick. So what he's providing for you right now is plenty. But now for the Pelicans, they have Zion Williamson, you assume, with the number 1 overall pick. And the number 4 pick, let's say Ja Morant's gone. Let's say RJ Barrett's gone. There are still a couple of guys on that list that could be immediate contributors to a Pelicans team that, plain and simple, in a couple of years, they are going to be dangerous. I mean, I don't know who on that team is going to be an all-star, but I can assure you, one of those 5 players, the first and 4th round pick this year, the first and 4th overall pick this year, and then those 3 Lakers, Hart, Ingram, Ball, they're going to get an all-star out of that group. They have to. There's literally no way they won't. And the Lakers, they're all in. They need a big 3. They're looking for that 3rd free agent this year. Kyrie Irving evidently is open to joining back with LeBron. I mean, come on, bro. Kyrie, I'm done with this, man. If you go to Brooklyn and take D-Russ out of Brooklyn, then I am super done with it. I mean, grow up. You wanted to be the star of your team, and you can't handle it, so you want to go back to dad, LeBron. You were mad that one reporter said, oh, do you think of LeBron as like a fatherly figure in the front office or in the locker room? And what did Kyrie Irving say? Said, nah, man, I don't think of LeBron like that. He ain't my dad. Well, he might be your dad. Why do you want to follow him everywhere? I'm sorry. Kyrie, you're better than this, man. It hurts. It hurts. The NBA, it never stops, and it drives a stake through my heart. You know what else does that? The Tennessee Titans. Man. Nothing really happened in the news with them. I just had to get that off my chest, the Tennessee Titans. What else should I get off my chest here in the next 30 seconds? The Cincinnati Reds, they're getting better. That's good to know. Good to hear. My Tampa Bay Rays, they are sitting right on the cusp of the AL East lead. Hopefully those Yankees falter. Edwin Encarnacion. Edwin Encar knocked me out. God, that was terrible. Cincinnati Reds next.
Sorry to break away so suddenly, but it's time for Cincinnati Reds baseball.